Ann Coulter goes on Bill Maher, and they say, we don't know who the shooters are. And she says, well, we know it's not a white man, because if it was, they'd release that information. Bill Maher says, okay, fine, whatever. You have special powers. It's remarkable to me how stupid Bill Maher is. And, this is probably why he won't come on the show. Whatever. I'm sorry. It's just a reality. This is, Bill Maher represents the surface level of first layer thinkers. I mean, that's all he is. He doesn't Google search. He doesn't research. He doesn't do any research.
I'm sure you remember this clip here when Ann Coulter went on the Bill Maher show with Van Jones and Bill Maher and absolutely destroyed Bill Maher over this Super Bowl shooting situation. Well, Ann Coulter has actually been vindicated in this whole thing. She was absolutely torn apart by all of these Bill Maher fans out there. You could see the way Van Jones is looking at her right there. Made out to be this absolute lunatic for the things that she was saying. For the fact that she said, I can tell you who it's not or who it is. It's not a white male. The longer they go without telling you, it's not a white male, because she knows that if a white male would have done this shooting, we would have known instantly who, the full identification, everything about the first, last name, the hair color, eye color, everything. We would have known everything about the shooter, is what Ann Coulter said on the Bill Maher show. And she was actually vindicated, because now we do know the identity of the shooter. And Tim Pool was absolutely going in on the fact that Ann Coulter was getting so, like I said, torn apart by all these liberals out there, by all these Bill Maher fans. And now, as you can see from the title of this video, Tim Pool posted this video, Super Bowl shooter identity revealed, Ann Coulter proven right, Bill Maher humiliated once again. And Bill Maher, like Tim Pool was saying in this one, he doesn't have an original thought in his brain. He's fed all the nonsense. He's fed all the brainwashing. He's been brainwashed for so long now, and he's built this audience around people who think a certain way, to the point where now he's not able to think freely. He's not able to speak freely. Even if he knew that what Ann Coulter was telling him on Late Night with Bill Maher and telling Van Jones, even if he knew that what she was telling him was true, he would never admit it. And I believe, because whenever Bill Maher's on his own podcast, he does seem to be open-minded somewhat. Obviously, he's still very much woke. He's still very much in that echo chamber. But sometimes you can see it come out of him. I think inside of his head, he's much more woken up than we think he is, than he's actually letting us on to think he is, because he can't be fully awake, or he'll just lose all that audience that he's built up, through 2020 and all that craziness that was happening around then. He was full on woke, like full on bought into that side and extremely against the other side. So he built up this audience, and now he's getting torn apart by people like Ann Coulter on his own show, and now people like Tim Pool on Timcast, as you can see here. Let's check out this video of Tim Pool just absolutely ripping Bill Maher apart and talking about how Ann Coulter was proven right. Let's check this out.
A lot of people on the left were giving Ann Coulter flack because she said that the shooters in Kansas City were likely not white. And the reason why? They did not release the information on the shooters, and they were withholding it. Many people in media were saying, well, we can't release the information on these alleged shooters because they're minors. Except Kyle Rittenhouse, they put his information out right away. I don't want to give Ann Coulter credit for this. I'll give her credit for saying it on Bill Maher's show, and they mocked her for it. We are now learning more information about the alleged gunman, why he did it, what happened, and the others involved. And yes, it is a black man. The issue here is we already had photos of people being arrested at the shooting. Like, we knew that it was likely young black men who are the likely suspects alleged to have started this shooting. The reason why, according to latest news reports, they got looked at wrong. I mean, that's it. So here's what happens.
As someone who is from the Deep South and from a city, from New Orleans, this is not far from the truth. I've lived in Baton Rouge, I've lived in New Orleans, and as someone who's lived in those cities, this is not far from the truth. And, I've never been, I come from a family that definitely steered me away from being racist. I've never been that way. Like, when I lived in Baton Rouge, I was in college, and I had 3 black roommates, and there would be times where literally, I'll tell you a quick story. I'm not gonna be too long. We'll get back to Tim Pool in 1 second, but literally we were getting our mail one day, and I was in the backseat of a car, and somebody was sitting next to me. He was one of my roommates. He was a black guy, and we had a car passing by behind us. It was a nice BMW, and he was like, "Oh, look at that BMW." And we both turned around, and the guy in the car slammed on his brakes, and he got out the car. He had a girl in his passenger seat. He's like, "What are you looking at?" And, obviously we got out the car, we have to defend ourselves. So we were like preparing to fight with the guy. Then he got back in his car and drove off like quickly. And I was like, thank God, nothing's going to happen. Then while we're getting our groceries out of the car, The guy comes flying back around. He dropped his girlfriend off, comes flying back around the corner and pulls out a gun. And he's like, this is Baton Rouge. Like, you can't be looking at me like that. So this stuff happens. And that's just one story that I have from living in those areas. It's bad. Like, you do not ever vacation to those areas. It's horrible to be in those places. And I can just tell you from experience, this stuff happens. You look at somebody wrong and they will put a gun out on you. That's why I'm just like, when it comes to Mardi Gras, Super Bowl parades, like any kind of parade where people are encouraged to act wild and drink a bunch of alcohol, and like, why would you ever go to those places? It's just like, stay away, because these people are just insane nowadays. Like, they will simply shoot you for looking at them the wrong way. And that's what Tim Pool is about to describe here.
Ann Coulter goes on Bill Maher, and they say, we don't know who the shooters are. And she says, well, we know it's not a white man, because if it was, they'd release that information. Bill Maher says, okay, fine, whatever. You have special powers. It's remarkable to me how stupid Bill Maher is. And, this is probably why he won't come on the show. Whatever. I'm sorry. It's just a reality. This is, Bill Maher represents the surface level of first layer thinkers. I mean, that's all he is. He doesn't Google search. He doesn't research. He doesn't do any research. Exemplified by when Dennis Prager was on his show and mentioned the claim by the far left that had been going on for like a decade that men could menstruate, and Bill Maher laughed. And the whole crowd like, oh, we're so smart. No, you made that up. Despite the fact that for years, leftist publications, mainstream publications, and universities had been making the claim. They are so out of touch. Now, Ann Coulter said this, and people on the left are acting like it's the first time it's ever been said. My friends, there has been an ongoing meme for a very long time about the identity of criminals being buried if they don't fit the narrative. Ann Coulter pointed out what many people had already been discussing for a very long time. And I don't think it's an idea she came up with. It's an observation basically everybody had. You had a guy ram a bunch of Christmas goers in Waukesha. I believe it was Christmas, right? And they kept putting in reports a car hit people. A car did it. That's the game they play. Let me read for you the news. And then we'll talk about the modern political circumstance pertaining to the likes of modern liberals, Bill Maher, and why this country is in trouble. A lot of reasons, I know. But here's the news. Just pulled a gun out and started shooting. Kansas City parade murderer Lindell May's confession is revealed in court papers, with suspect 23 previously convicted of flashing gun during disputed basketball court. Now, this guy's not.
I guarantee you it was the same kind of confrontation as well at the basketball court, where maybe, things are a little bit heated when you're playing pickup basketball. People are pushing, there's a lot of contact and stuff like that. He's probably a little bit mad. Somebody looked at him the wrong way. Maybe he got dunked on, or, the three got wet in his face and somebody stared him down and he flashed a gun. That's just like, that's just the world nowadays, man. That's why I'm saying, like, stay away from these large parades, these large crowds. It is not worth it. Trust me. Like, especially if, whatever, if you're in a big city, especially if you're in a bad city, like, the cities I've lived in, like Kansas City, like, just why would you go to a parade? Why? Just stay away. It's not worth it. It's not even that fun.
Not even a minor. Mays, 23, and Dominic Miller, 18, are facing charges including murder in the second degree, armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon. They kept saying, well, they're juveniles, they're minors, we can't release their information. This guy's 23 years old. Now he's alleged. I guess they're saying he confessed in court documents. Here he is. Yo, it's wild. One guy, this might be him, got shot in the face. Here's the story. Wait till you see what it was all about. They say it was a personal dispute, gang related. Nope. None of that. Homie was walking and some guy said, what you looking at? He said, what you looking at? What you looking at? What you looking at? And he pulled his gun out. For real. That's the story. And then once he pulled his gun out, they started shooting at each other wildly into the crowd of all these people. A detective is claiming that alleged Kansas City gunman Lindell Mays confessed to opening fire at the Chiefs Super Bowl celebration last week, as it's been revealed that the suspect has a prior gun conviction. These two, there's also, they say Mays, 23, and Dominic Miller are facing charges, armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon. These two individuals are not the two juveniles that had been charged with gun-related offenses and resisting arrest. Court documents have now revealed that Mays has brazenly confessed to the shooting, which left one woman dead, and admitted to the senselessness.
It is a really, just a really horrible situation, man. And I want to warn as many people as I possibly can, as many people who watch this video and watch my channel, just get out of larger cities, get out of these major cities, especially the bad ones, If you're going to go to one, at least have it be, one of the nicer ones, somewhere in Texas, somewhere in Florida that has, decent gun laws where they're not going to try to keep you from concealed carry or even open carry. Everybody knows that everybody's armed in a lot of those areas. So if you're going to live in a major city, at least have it be one of those states. And when there's parades and events with a lot of people drinking, a lot of people, encouraged to act like idiots, just stay away from the area. It's just not worth it. Things like this are happening way too often now for things that, it just, like, number one, the incident that incited the whole incident, it was really stupid. Like Tim Pool just said, it was a guy walking by saying, what you looking at? What you looking at? And then boom, they just started shooting. But also all the people surrounding had literally nothing to do with any of that. People who got shot in the surrounding area, they're just minding their own business, trying to have a good time at a Super Bowl parade. But like I said, like Tim Pool was saying on this Timcast video, Ann Coulter was vindicated. Ann Coulter was proven right after destroying Bill Maher. And Bill Maher is humiliated once again. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Did you see it coming? I'm sure you did. But let me know in the comments, did you see it coming? And how do you feel about this whole, what Tim Pool was saying, what Ann Coulter was saying, what Bill Maher said? Let me know what you guys think of this whole situation. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you on the next one.